How are you guys doing this week? This is another episode of Homestead Shop Talk with Lumnah from Lumnah Acres, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Soul the Land. And once a week, we just get together and just have a conversation. It's like we're just talking on the phone and we're recording it and talking about our week. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about starting a YouTube channel. And I guess you could say it's more of starting a homestead YouTube channel, because that's pretty much what we all do in kind of realm that we're in. So, but first we're going to talk about our week. So how you guys been? Who wants to go first?
Why don't you go first, Jason?
So this week was we did our chicken butchering workshops. That's always it's a really busy week that week, because you're just kind of setting up and preparing for people to come and making sure you sent out all the emails that you wanted to send out, and people have your info and that who are attending and they bought tickets, so make sure our place is fairly clean, because strangers are going to be showing up. But we had 2 workshops, 7 people each day, and that's what we maxed it out at. Sold out, and we only did I think we did 17 meat chickens each day, so it was pretty easy day. It wasn't too long, and it's amazing, people from all over come. I had a guy come in from San Diego, which is amazing. Someone from Missouri, a few people from Florida, and everyone that comes, they're like really cool. Like they're really like super nice. That's probably early on. That was probably like a hesitation, because it's like people have been following us or watching our videos for a while, and then they come to our place, and we had to be open to like having strangers coming to your place, and how that was going to work, but it's been 100%, like everyone's been super nice and cool, uh, which has been great. After a certain amount of birds, you could kind of see a look on people's face of like, okay, I'm done. Like this is every single time, most people, this is the very first time that they have butchered a chicken. And so, 1 is good, 2 is good, but 3, okay, I think they got it. Okay. Like I don't want to do 100 birds in one day,
I want to overwhelm
because you
them.
kind of want to make it, I feel like, yes, you don't want to overwhelm them, and I want it to be a good experience for them, so that way they want to go home and do it. Uh, and then also people come like together, like they're making it a weekend, like a fun weekend, uh, either with their spouse or friend, and then like afterwards they're gonna go into Asheville or something and go to a brewery, like it's just a fun weekend for them. So I'm like trying to make it somewhat enjoyable, because it is still butchering a chicken, but everyone seems to
Right.
have a good time, so it's always a good fun turnout. So then after that, I mean, I'm still building that lean-to shed on top of our property, um, collecting rainwater. It's kind of tedious putting in all those 4. I'm putting in 6 posts, so just making sure they're straight. And okay, so when we bought this house, it came with a brand new refrigerator. Uh, but because the house is from the 60s, the spot where the refrigerator goes, it doesn't fit. Like the fridge is huge,
Yep.
and the spot is very small because it's from the 60s. And so we always felt like it was just so protruding, and like, we want to redo the kitchen, and we felt like that fridge is just way too big for that area. And we just couldn't figure out, like, it wouldn't fit anywhere. because it's so big. So we decided to buy a smaller fridge,
Hmm.
and probably one of the smaller fridges that you could buy. Uh, Besides getting like too narrow. So we decided to buy that, and then that fits in that spot way better. And all our stuff still fit in there. Like I was afraid that like all our food wouldn't fit in there, at least right now. We'll see how it goes, but I mean, we're not going to lose a fridge because we're going to take that fridge and put it down in our basement. So we'll have an extra fridge, which is cool because we've always wanted an extra fridge for when we have, a lot of abundance. For when we get that milk cow, right, Al?
That's right. When do you guys getting that?
It's all coming. It's all coming, right? Like all these little things are happening.
You're preparing for it.
Subconsciously, we're preparing for a milk cow. So that's starting the process of like I think of renovating our kitchen. From there we'll kind of measure how we want everything to be laid out and then have a better idea. But we like it. We like the smaller fridge a lot better just because it fits there better. It doesn't feel so weird or cramped. So yeah, other than that, it's just mainly those workshops.
How long does it take you to get ready for a workshop?
Well, setting
Yeah.
up, setting up the day before, the night before, probably, I mean, probably a good almost 2 hours, I would say.
Yep.
Setting up 3 easy ups, tables, make sure we have some ice, waters, for everybody, make sure the lawn is mowed, make sure there's no hoses, or things in the way that they're going to trip or something, you know, we got to get up like extra early, earlier than normal because I got to go out there and feed all the animals before everyone comes. So, it's an early day, it's a long day, but once we get going, it's, pretty relaxed time. It's actually kind of fun because you're kind of talking to new people and hanging out with people while you're butchering chicken. So it's actually kind of fun for me. And hearing their stories on why you guys here, you know, like I like hearing those things of like, what are you doing here? Like you got chickens and where you're from, So that's always kind of fun.
What's the furthest away anybody's traveled? I know you said you had somebody from California this time, but has there been anybody further than that?
No, I think he was probably the furthest. San Diego. I mean, other before that, it was someone from Utah that came.
Yep.
Um, Utah, like Pennsylvania, Missouri. I did have one guy contact me from Ireland,
Wow.
and
That's a long ways away.
he was gonna come, and he was like, before I had announced our workshop, he was like, "Hey, when's your next workshop? Because I'm looking to buy tickets." He's like, "I really want to come." He's like, "I need to know like way in advance." He's like, "Can you tell me a date?" And then so I told him I came up. I didn't have a date at the time. This was like way before, and so I was like, "All right, well, we'll do it this time." And so I told him, and he was like, it just didn't work out, where he couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, he was like, it sounded like he was gonna come, and that would have been cool. Like if have somebody from Ireland come out.
Right.
But yeah, but man, yeah, it's amazing. I would say on average, everyone's probably at least 3 or 4 hours away from us.
Driving distance
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of a busy week. We have Meg's grandma in from California. She kind of came out here and surprised us. She's been out here a week. She's staying in our RV, staying with us, and it's been a really nice visit. It's nice to have her. She enjoys everything we're doing. She grew up on a dairy farm when she was younger, and got away from it, and has pretty much lived the city life for, 60 years, something like that. And so she thought it was kind of weird that we would want to go to this kind of life. And then the first time she came out, it was a couple years ago, when we landed. She was the first family to come visit. And when she got out here, she was like, okay, I understand now. I know why you guys are living this life. It's peaceful. It's a definite change from city life. Well, so she's been out for a week, and we just kind of took the week off from filming just so we can enjoy having her out here, and it's been nice. Now, I will say there's been all sorts of stuff that we've done instead. Me and my boys we're all in karate together, and so of course this past week we had belt promotion, and so we were busy with that in the evenings. And then we actually this weekend went to an estate auction. Every now and then, if there's a good one going on, we'll go down to these estate auctions. And this one was a guy who has had a fab shop, like a business run from his property for looks like decades. And so he's downsizing, and he wanted to get rid of tons of equipment and metal. And when I heard that there was metal at an estate sale, sign me up. So we went to this auction, and I filled my trailer with so much metal, and just all sorts of metal, tubing, sheet metal, angle iron, flat bar. I mean, every shape, size of metal you can imagine. And I think I got out of there for under $500. And it was a trailer load, thousands of dollars worth of metal. And it was just it was awesome. So that was Saturday, and then Sunday we got it home, unloaded everything, got it kind of put away and stacked up. But something that was kind of funny was when we were leaving California, I think one of the most painful things I had to do was all of my accumulated scrap metal over the years. Anytime you do a project, buy more than you need, because metal's, it's not going to go bad. And so I had a pretty good supply of scrap metal, to the point where if I had some random welding project I needed to do, chances are I had all the metal just sitting on the side of the house ready to go. So one of the very last things I had to do was either pack up my scrap metal, which seems silly, or throw it away. So I drove back down to the shop that I had just quit from with a heaping truckload of all of my metal, and I threw it in their scrap bin. That was, it hurt. Well, going to this auction, I basically replaced everything that I had to get rid of, probably 4 or 5 fold. And it was really cool. It was a fun weekend. So yeah, that was in a nutshell my week. That was pretty good. We had a lot of fun this weekend. I think we're all a little bit sunburned from standing out there at that auction, but it was worth it.
Auctions are fun. I like auctions.
Yeah, it was probably about an hour away. Maybe public service announcement. We drove out there. I towed the trailer. It's a little 14-foot trailer, double axle. And I noticed it just didn't feel right while I was towing. And I didn't think to really give it a once over before we hopped on the road. We had to leave pretty early to be out there before the auction started. Got out there, didn't even give the trailer one look. We loaded it, got all the way home, and I noticed coming home, it just seemed like I was really having to step on the gas to maintain speed. And mind you, this auction was over an hour away. And Sunday morning, I go out there to start unloading that metal, and I looked down at the tires, and I was like, man, those tires look really, really low. Yeah, there's 10 PSI in all 4 tires on that trailer. So, yeah, public service announcement. Maybe before you hop in the car and drive somewhere or tow your trailer. Trailers especially. Trailers don't get a lot of love. You only use them every now and then. And when you need them, you just grab them and go. Maybe like schedule some maintenance. I hadn't even thought to check because, like I don't hardly ever use it. But yeah, I filled the tires all the way up to what they're supposed to be, and it tows a lot better. Surprise, surprise. So yeah.
Right.
How about you, Al?
That's funny. It's been a crazy week here. So we ended up on the end of the week, we launched the coffee and new merchandise store website, and we had technical difficulties launching the website. It took us probably 10 to 20 minutes once we hit the live button for it to actually work. We just kept like pressing and pressing and pressing, and the website wouldn't go live. So we finally got it. And then within like 2 hours, we sold out of all the coffee, which was kind of crazy.
Wow.
One
That's
of those
good.
things like, yeah,
Nice.
it's one of those things. You don't know how much to order. You'd hate to order too much and have it sitting. You don't want to order too little. So we ordered 155 pounds, and that sold out. So it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So now we're working with our roaster and getting another batch roasted up. And we'll see how that goes. And we upped the order like 50 pounds. We'll see how that goes this time. And then if we have to, we'll up it again. But we don't want to, make too big of a jump where people have already bought it. There might not be as many people interested. So we'll keep like raising it as we go. But so far the feedback we've gotten has been good. Everybody likes the coffee. One of the big things is we trying to do it fresh. So like the first batch was roasted August 1st, and we shipped it out within like a week. So when you roast coffee, you can't just like roast it and then pack it. You got to roast it, let it sit, let it off gas for like 2 or 3 days, and then you can pack it up and send it out. So we're trying to make sure we do it as quick as we can and get it out. We don't want it sitting around. So I don't know. The fresh coffee's made a big difference. What do you guys think? Could you tell a difference of the coffee being fresh or?
I mean, it was good
I don't know
coffee.
if I can tell.
I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I mean, it
Still
was
drinking
good.
The cold brew I really like.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost out of the cold brew. That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what it would taste like not fresh. It's just good coffee to me.
Yeah, we do. We ship them out ourselves. So we've decided to do the merchandise. We decided to bring that all in-house. We have somebody local print it, and then with the coffee, it's somebody that's just down the street from us that she started her own coffee business roasting, and we've been drinking her coffee for a while now. We're like, we really like this coffee, so we decided to have her make it. So pretty wild. We tried out a bunch of different roasts, and said like, oh, let's try this one, let's try that one. So for a while, we were drinking lots of coffee and trying to figure out what we wanted to do. So it was a fun process. You ship out your merch, right?
Say that again?
From your house? You do all your own merch?
No.
You do all your own merch?
No, we like our shirts and stuff.
My hats, I do.
That's all through Bonfire, and so it's all elsewhere. But I don't know. It's a big thing shipping, like having your own merch and having to ship it out yourself. It seems kind of intimidating, but I don't know. For right now, this works. We sell like, I don't know, maybe 5 t-shirts a month. We don't really plug our t-shirts and stuff like that. Maybe we need to up our game.
Right. Well, you did all the soap and you shipped all that out, so you know everything that goes into doing all that process.
Oh yeah, doing merchandise of any kind it's a big deal. The soap stuff, when you have thousands of dollars worth of merchandise that has to go out, and what it was for us is Meg would work for 3 months, 4 months building up a stock, and then it would all sell out within an hour, and it's hundreds of orders. It would take us a week to pack all the orders, and it was taking so much time. It was just like, we either need to upscale or just like knock it off, because this is too much time. It was too stressful. So we just kind of dialed it back, and if we have time, we'll do it. But Yeah, we were creating a monster. I think that's why we kind of dialed it back.
Early on, I would do a lot of woodworking stuff, and there was all different kinds of sizes. Woodworking. It's just all custom, and we had boxes for every size, and it becomes like you're a shipping company, you know, like packaging tape and paper, and it just gets a bit much. So I would love to do shipping here with everything, and I think we probably will. I'll probably go back to that, and like I would like to just rather make the t-shirts, have somebody local make them, and then buy a bunch of them, and then we ship them.
Yep.
We're not there yet, I feel, but eventually I think we will, because I don't know. I feel like it'd be, I don't know, it'll just be better for everywhere, because I feel like people go to, we have our website, we have a bonfire, we have another t-shirt place, we have our Etsy page, and they're going through all these like 4 or 5 different websites. And so I want to bring everything all onto our one website, where they just have one website and they can buy, everything's on there, so.
Yeah, because you have all your classes and your courses. So they can just do everything all from the one
Yeah.
solarland.com and take care of everything.
So trying to figure that out. I mean, shipping is expensive.
Shipping
Um,
is crazy. So then we've been working on the workshop build, and we were setting the trusses this week. We had like a catastrophic failure. I was going through, and all the trusses are engineered and everything, and I'm just kind of chuckling because everybody always gives us a hard time, like, oh, you shouldn't be building that yourself. You didn't engineer it, or it's not engineered, and you need to have engineers do all this stuff. Well, these trusses are engineered, and not all of them, but some of them, like some of the pieces of wood on it's like garbage. And it's like, these are engineered trusses. These have been stamped. They've been approved, but they're like using rotted wood or wood with knots. So the
what?
second to last truss I picked up and it cracked because it was just terrible lumber. And then the last truss broke in midair, came crashing
Yikes!
Wow.
Yikes!
just because it was bad lumber. It just folded
After
in
you
half. And
after you installed it?
while we were installing it, we were lifting it up to get it in position. We had like 2 seconds left to lower it to sit it on the building, and then it just, yeah, last one. Then we
Please tell
had
me
to
you caught it
rebuild
on
it, and
camera.
it was quite the process. Oh yes, we did. So we're having Ken from Ken's Carpentry help us. He's got a YouTube channel, so he was recording too. Well, his drone and his camera shut off, and then his drone landed like 2 minutes or not even 2 minutes before everything happened. So I ended up, we had a couple of cameras going, and we had our drone. So I sent him some of our footage, but he was like, "What is the chance that everything shuts off?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it usually happens that way."
Two
Yeah, we got it on
YouTubers.
camera. It was like,
Yeah. Two YouTubers.
yeah.
Somebody had to cut it.
Right, we did.
Yeah.
That's the one good thing about doing YouTube. If something goes horribly wrong, you'll get a good video out of it at least. There's like the silver lining
Yep.
if you're videoing
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Sad truth.
Yeah.
everybody wants to see you fail or mess up or so.
Here you
Right.
go.
Come crashing down.
Right. Thank you. But it's just funny because everybody's always like, "Oh, you got to get engineered clear plans. You got to have this. You got to have that." And it's like, these are all
Really?
bought. They're engineered. They had stamps, right? They're all stamped and approved, and they're just using garbage lumber. It's like, okay, yep, I'd rather do stuff myself, not have to worry about engineers.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe people say that though. Like, what is it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the safety police out
What was it?
there.
Well, I think it's funny. Like Joel Salatin, you always hear him talk about. I think in his county, he can't build with rough sawn lumber because rough sawn lumber you cut on your own mill is not graded. But if you buy lumber at a lumber yard, it's all graded, so you can build with it. Well, like
Mm.
all those trusses, every piece of lumber on those trusses were graded premium lumber, and they passed inspection, however, whatever they do. And
Yeah.
one of the boards that I had to replace was rotted. So it's like, well, the grade or the inspection process, that doesn't mean anything. So that was the eventful week. And then we were still building. So hopefully we'll be done. I'm hoping in another week because we had to wait 3 days for our trusses. The trusses were supposed to be here like a week ago. And then like a week sooner than, or like maybe like a week and a half sooner than what we got them. But the first week we didn't matter that they weren't there because we had plenty of work to do. And then we were all caught up for 3 days. We were kind of like just twiddling our thumbs, doing other things because we were waiting on the trusses.
So does that put your videos back because you're waiting?
No, so right now we upload 3 videos a week. So we've been working full days building. So we've been getting a lot of content out of it. So it just made the videos more up to date, if that makes sense, versus having extra ones in the queue.
So do you combine different days into one video?
Yeah, it depends on the process. Like if some of the build, I think it was day 1 and 2 was kind of repetitive, like very slow. Like we cut all the posts, which was like 20 something posts, and we had to cut and notch them all, and that took half a day. So like there was that, and still putting sill plates down was pretty slow process. So we put the first 2 days together. Then other than that, most of the days have been by themselves because there's been a lot more action, I guess you could call it, where it's not just the same, like making like a cut for 5 hours. This podcast will go out on Friday. So I think our video that goes out on Saturday will have the crashing truss video.
Oh, cool. I'm here for that.
Thank you.
As long as nobody got hurt.
Great segue.
Everybody, right? You mess something up really bad and then you show it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Show your
the key is
mistakes.
you always have to have the camera rolling.
Right. That is true. And you can't be afraid to show your failures, which hurts sometimes. Well, I shouldn't say it hurts, but you get all the comments. Like whatever. I won't even say what the comments are that you get, but you got to have thick skin when you show your failure.
Yeah. Yeah, so we
that's
could open
life,
it up by
though.
that. Thousands of people are going to see your failure. If you didn't film it,
Right.
nobody would see it except for maybe your family. So,
Right.
and your family's not going to, they're nice, so they're not going to tell you.
You hope your family's nice.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah. If you're going to start a YouTube channel, you got to figure out why you want to start a YouTube channel first. I think that's important because it's the why is going to keep you going, because you're going to get those comments, those really bad comments, and you have to remember, okay, why am I doing this?
I was just going to say, I think sometimes the really bad comments hurt even more when you're doing something that you love or that you enjoy doing, and then everybody like beats you up for it. So you kind of got to get ready for on both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Or if a video doesn't do good and you're like, man, I really like doing that, or I like doing this, and the video doesn't do well, you still
That
gotta,
always hurts
that's
too.
what you enjoy doing.
Or if they say something and it's like, you want to respond back and like, okay, maybe I didn't explain myself in the video correctly, So I'm like, I want to respond back like, no, it's not that, it's this, Then I want to, but then I'm like, why? Don't even like, I can respond right now and like it doesn't even matter, Like I could spend all my time responding and explaining myself, but in the end, they're not gonna care.
One of the questions we get a lot is about equipment.
Yeah.
Like, what do you need for equipment? I guess I go 2 different ways on that. So I'll tell you what one of my things was when I first started. We started out with just a cheap point and shoot, but then when I wanted to start doing it full time, but I wasn't there yet, I forget how I had a little bit of money saved up, and I spent the money on a nice camera. Not because I needed it, but it was more of like, hey, I'm going to get this little bit more expensive camera because if I invest the money, it'll keep my feet to the fire, and I'll have to keep making content So it's going to
Yeah.
force myself to, well, I want to pay for that camera. But then on the other hand, it's like, if you can't afford to do it, you don't need a fancy camera. You can just start with your cell phone nowadays.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who just use a cell
Yeah,
phone and it comes
the
out just
first
fine.
oh, nowadays for sure. Like when did we start? In 2016, 17, I used a cell phone for the first 2 years.
We still shoot 90% of our videos with our iPhones, the 13 Pro. We use external mics with them. We had Sonys, we had expensive DSLR Sonys, and we find that this gives a better quality than the Sonys,
Wow.
which seems kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
I know, right?
I believe it though.
But would you say it's would you say it's more convenient using your cell phone like that, or because you could put it in your pocket?
It has its flaws. Like it's more convenient for like grabbing and going. The external mic part is different than having like a nice external mic, like a shotgun one, and then the zoom. Like if you want to zoom something, you really can't zoom. You can't zoom that well. So it's kind of like a give and take. But we find like for like every day, this is just easier. And like I was surprised. I forget even how we got on. I think we both got new phones, and we were shooting B-roll on them, and then we were editing the B-roll with our regular camera footage from our Sonys. I forget which Sony they are. And we were like, wow, the iPhones have so much better quality. The coloring was better. Just everything was better. So it took us a little while, and then we finally went more to just using the iPhones. And which I was kind of surprised, or maybe not surprised, but the editing process, because we use Apple computers for editing, and we use Final Cut Pro, which is Apple. It downloads, and it's a lot quicker to edit the footage, like for rendering and everything. Like it just works better.
Yeah, probably because it's not
Kind
like
of
it's not super high resolution or it's probably like a certain
So
file.
we shoot in 4K, which
Oh,
is
okay.
crazy too. You can shoot in 4K up to 50 frames per second.
Wow.
I guess
Yeah.
I'd say that's another trick. Like, so we shoot in 4K because you can't zoom in and get like a good zoom. But if I crop and zoom in while I'm editing by shooting 4K, I can zoom in a little bit more and get really good picture quality.
Yeah, I only switched from a phone because my phone was getting old, and then I switched to a flip camera because I'm with you. Like there was a certain point after a couple of years, you're like, okay, I should probably get serious. Let's be more thoughtful with these videos. So I felt like something dedicated to the videos would have been better instead of my cell phone. And so buying a flip camera, and then from a flip camera I went to a Canon 80D, and now I use a Sony SLR camera with a big shotgun mic on it. And
What
I
do you
like
use for a mic?
the Rode mic, like the big
So do
furry.
you know Sony makes their own shotgun mic that plugs in, and it uses the camera battery, so you don't have to put batteries in the Rodes,
Oh, okay.
and you
Yeah,
don't have to turn it on and off manually. It comes on and off every time you turn the camera on and off.
so that one does. The one I have turns
Yep.
on and off automatically.
Yeah, the Rode mic we use on our camera, it's phantom powered, so whenever the camera's on, the mic gets turned on. It's really, really nice. That way you don't have to forget and lose all your audio.
Yeah, I did that quite a few times when I used to use Canon back in the day in Rodes. Originally, you had to turn them on and off, and they all had their own batteries, and then the Rodes really wouldn't tell you when the battery went dead. So you'd be in there editing and going, I just lost half of my video. What am I going to do now?
Yeah. I think I'm so used to the big camera nowadays is that I don't know if I could do like I alternate like nowadays I'm using the bigger camera and I have a GoPro.
Yep.
So I'll alternate just depending like if I'm doing more like it's just so much easier because I have the big camera And so like right now, like I gotta use my zero turn with a wagon to haul water up. And I have my big camera with me. So rather than having my camera with me, I just have my little GoPro that I hook up so that way I could just like go because I need a third hand to hold my camera plus 2 water buckets.
And then the GoPro's nice, I think, for homesteading videos because if you're outside in the rain,
Oh
the
yeah.
GoPro can get wet.
Yep. Every time it rains, if I want to go out there and film, that's what I use. Because rain and camera equipment do not mix. That's what's hard.
Not at all.
Homesteading doesn't stop just because it's raining out either.
No, and it just depends. Like, so would you agree? Would you guys agree that being consistent is probably one of the most important things?
Yeah, I agree.
Being
Yeah.
consistent is
I mean-
pretty important. I mean, this is really a subject that takes a huge deep dive if we wanted to like talk about this. But for the most part, like you have to stick with it. You have to like people can get all the way up to 1 million subscribers with just their camera. So equipment doesn't really matter. It's how much you're willing to stick to it and put the work in. Like you have to treat it like a job if you want to make a job out of it.
Yeah.
When did you guys realize that? Did you go into it thinking that, or is it something afterwards?
We
Or
kind of
making
went
videos
into
for a
it.
while before you realized?
Yeah, we kind of went into it as a way to document our lives and things we were doing. And it just kind of grew. It just kind of took off. I think once we started actually approaching it like a job, that's when it changed. And about the time we started treating YouTube like a job, that was when it started behaving like a job and started making us money. But yeah, the equipment, like we started with a Canon, oh gosh, what's that little camera? It's a G7X. It's a little bitty point and shoot with a little flip up screen, simple little camera. And we used that, I mean, for the first 2 years, 3 years. And we finally got a DSLR, and it's all right, but it was like at the end of the day, I guess it didn't really matter what the equipment was because it's all about the edit and the content itself, I guess. That's my perspective anyways.
Well, for us, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna do this and make it a business. It was never like that. It's always like, I'm gonna try it, and it was really just to show my mom and grandma back in California what the heck we were doing out here, and
Yeah, us too.
after a year, we made a tiny bit of money from it because it was one of those things where like you don't know anyone that's actually making money off of YouTube, but you hear about it like in the news or online that people are doing that, and you're just not sure. And so you're like, I'm not sure if you can, but I'm just gonna put some videos up there and see what happens. And so after about a year, we made like, the entire year was like $80, and I was like, oh,
Yep.
I could have took that 2 different ways. I could have said, yeah, this is not worth it, like I'm wasting my time. But then you have to go back to your why. And my why was to show my grandma what I'm doing. Whether I made any kind of money, it was for her. And so that's when I decided to, maybe we should be more thoughtful. What would happen if we were more thoughtful with the videos and try to tell a good story and, just go that route, and then maybe we could make a little bit more money, and then just being consistent with it. But I met people that from the get-go, they're like, no, we're gonna be full-time YouTubers. Like I've met people that way, and they're like, yeah, that was their goal, was we're starting a YouTube channel. We're gonna be full-time YouTubers, and this is what we're going to do. And they have been full-time. And I never, I just wasn't like that. I just was like, I'm gonna fill it out and see how it goes.
I went into it hoping that we could get it to do something, but not knowing. It was
Yeah.
kind of more of like, we moved back up to northern New Hampshire. And it's like, I need to do something some kind of online job. Like I want to be, whether it was eBay or, so we tried a bunch of different things, and we did the YouTube. I took one of Tim Schmoyer's classes that he was doing, kind of like out of the get-go. And then I think it was just, kind of like learning the little bit of the back end of YouTube, or and the consistency end of it. And then after that, we did the 30-day daily upload challenge. So posting a video like every 30 days, and just kind of like a commitment, and like, hey, you just got to upload. And then after that, I decided to do it for a year, and that was kind of insane. So once like that year came of doing daily uploads, I was like, yeah, like we got to cut back. This is intense. Trying to make a video every day, edit it, and then get it uploaded, which is kind of crazy. I was working a full-time job at the time too, so trying to have something of content to do, and then edit it, and then go to work the next day was kind of crazy. There's a lot of people out there that still do daily videos. I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, like I'm glad we did it, but man, that took a lot, and that was a commitment. Have you guys ever done daily videos?
Oh yeah.
I did early. I did. I did early on. I tried doing it early on. I did it for a little bit. Maybe it was maybe a month or two. I did it to daily, but then I get burnt out. Like I start not being nice.
It's a
You
lot.
know, like because all the thing I think about is like, oh my gosh, I gotta film. What am I gonna film? I gotta edit. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. Is like, and I was like this, and nobody has no say so. Like I would be irritable. Like, I wouldn't be good to be around. And now I don't. Like if I did, I would be a horrible person. Like I'm just not. Why? I just can't do it. Like I just not wired that way. I don't know what it is. I just can't. Like I want to. Sometimes I do want to. I'm like, I'm doing daily. I'm just gonna do it. But then I'm like, yeah, it's just not gonna work out. I just can't do it that way. I already put out like every other day. I could do every other day, but
Yep.
not every day.
So we're actually daily right now. We film Monday through Thursday. And we've been doing this schedule for a year and a half or something like that. We tried doing 5 days a week, and it was just too much, so we dialed it back. But it's not too bad. It kind of seems like it's a regular work week. But it's cool. I find that doing the daily, it kind of keeps me focused. It keeps me in like, this is vlog time, film all the projects, film everything we're doing, and then I get my weekends off. So that's kind of my approach to it.
Do you edit yourself, Al?
I edit, yeah. So we do 3 videos a week, but we film 5 days a week, 5 or 6 days. So we usually put like 2 days worth of content in per video, and then we edit. Or I edit, and I probably spend just as much time editing as I do the project, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I want to know your routine. Like, this is my routine for editing. So like with Ben, we do it daily shooting, so it's like a job. And for me, if I can stay in a routine, it comes more consistent for me, and it's easily for me to do it. Versus where if it's just kind of like, oh, I do it here and I don't do it there, I'd fall out of the habit. So I just make sure we do it. But I get up like around 3:30 a.m. I do my morning workout, all my fun stuff, and then I'd say from like 4 a.m. for a couple of hours I'll edit, and then we'll do all the morning chores. And we do chores, breakfast, and we get done with that probably around like 9, and then we start building and doing the building projects and whatever we're doing.
Uh-huh.
And then it's editing in the afternoon, and then chores, and then kind of the grind. So it's a job.
Okay, so when do you
I
go
think
to
some people
bed?
think it's
Okay, okay. When do you go to bed to get up at 3:30 a.m.?
10 o'clock. I go to bed at 10.
Got to get that coffee on an IV.
Dang, must be that nice cold weather you have.
Must be. I don't know. I read a book, The Miracle Morning, and I started getting up early, and I've been doing that for years now. I think my body got used to it. I enjoy my mornings. If I can start my mornings off, just I don't know, just if I can start the mornings off the way I want, or getting like in a good workflow and getting mentally like positioned and stuff like that, my day goes a lot better. So if I sleep in, when I guess for me, sleeping in is like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But if I sleep
Your
in, and I'm
day's
not able to
ruined.
do what I usually do in the morning. Not talking about the editing part, but if I'm not able to do the morning routine, then it just kind of throws the day off.
I am the exact
I don't know.
same
I
way.
enjoy the mornings.
I
How are you?
slept until 6:30 this morning and it ruined my entire day. Playing catch up all day.
Isn't that crazy? It's like you sleep until 6 and then you're done.
It's all over.
See, I haven't figured out a routine. I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know
That
why.
doesn't stress you out.
Um, I don't know. I like to. I don't like having a schedule. Like I just like just doing whatever I feel like doing. Like I feel like there's nothing more freer than that. And it maybe because like for like all my life I had a 9 to 5 office job. I mean pretty much, like and it was very like get up in the morning, I gotta be there at 7, it's over at 5, and that's it. And then after I left, it was like I just want to do whatever I want to do. Like if I want to sleep in, I'm gonna sleep in. If I don't, if I want to get up early, I get up early. Like it's like that with editing. Like I don't feel like editing today. I'm not gonna do it. Like like I'd rather I like the inconsistency of it as far as like I like filming and editing, but I also like going into the wood shop and like making something with my hands and not filming it and not editing it, but it's something physical rather than something digital. Um, so I mean, so I like that. I like that. I like just waking up and just figuring out then what I want to do. I know I would probably be better off if I did have a schedule as far as growing
I
my
don't know.
channel.
If you don't like having a schedule, then and
Well,
having that, you might do worse.
well,
I think it's
maybe
personality.
growing a YouTube channel, if you're going to grow a YouTube channel, you probably should have a schedule. It would probably help me. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. But
So
do
how do you
you?
like having to do the editing of all the podcasts? Because that's kind of like you have to get that done.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty easy. I mean, because it's not much editing. I mean, compared to my channel, so it doesn't bother me. But yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, certain things I do have to get done. I don't want to let you guys down. You know, I'm like we're in this together now. So
Right.
I don't want to let you guys down and like I didn't feel like editing the podcast today. This week.
I'm sleeping in. I'm not editing a
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
I guess that's enough. I guess another like if you plan on getting into YouTube, I'm not. You don't have to. I never knew how to edit until I started doing YouTube, but editing is a big part. I would say we spend 3 to 4 hours a day editing a video,
Yes.
and then, but editing's not everything. How much? I wonder how much time you guys spend editing, but then also, like thinking of a title, thinking of the thumbnail, that takes a lot of time too, or at least mental capacity trying to think of all that stuff. I think those things that I never thought about that when I got into doing YouTube. Like, oh yeah, I got to make sure I come up with a good thumbnail and I think of a title and all the energy and effort that all takes.
I'm
Oh,
about 4 to 6
definitely takes
hours editing every video. Do you think you would ever hire an editor? Any one of you
I think
guys?
if we ever did, I think I'd want somebody local. I couldn't imagine sending off your footage and then like just to somebody, because we get reached out all the time, like, oh hey, we have a company and we edit for hundreds of YouTubers. We want to edit your video. I just don't see how that would work, sending off your footage and spending all the time uploading footage to get it edited. I don't
Yeah.
know. We usually have, I would say, between 2 to 4 hours worth of video footage that we edit down to a 30-minute video. So I couldn't imagine sending that off into the internet and how much time that would take. And I wouldn't want to give up the control unless it was like somebody I knew that was doing it and it was kind of there to know the process.
That would be tough to make that transition.
Have
See,
you
I'm
thought
kind of
about
in
it,
a
Jason?
Yeah, no, I thought about it. Um, but I think I would rather have somebody film me than edit. Maybe not like every video, but certain times, certain videos, it would be a lot easier if I just had somebody like just follow me with a camera. I also think it would be a better video. I feel like it'd be simpler and it would be better video. Like I could edit it. I could edit video. I don't mind that. And I really do like editing. Um, but as far as getting certain things done, like projects, I feel like it would be a better video if somebody else was filming me. And it would help you get the
I
job
agree.
done. Like you're building something. Like you have to set up the camera, you have to move the angles, you got to wear the GoPro on your head, you got to run the drone, and then you got to get on the ladder and you got to do that. You know, that's a lot, man.
So I guess I'm in kind of a different situation. So I'm the camera guy most of the time, and then Meg does all the editing. Um, a lot of people, it's kind of weird to see. So Meg started our YouTube channel. She was the personality behind the camera, in front of the camera, and then she was the editor. She learned how to edit, and she got pretty good at it. She's still pretty good at it. And so I'm in this kind of weird position where when we got here, I was the one doing all the projects, building and stuff, and so it makes more sense instead of her having to follow me around and film what I'm doing is I just start talking to the camera. Well, now we get commenters commenting going, yeah, Meg should do the vlog sometime. That would be cool. It's like, well, it used to be Meg's vlog, so it's kind of weird. But I guess my point was, she edits everything. So, I film all day, I film my day, and then I hand the footage off to her at the end of the day, and then she edits at night. Um, it's kind of a cool setup. This is the first time in our married life that we actually have something that we're working together on. It's almost like a family business, if you will. Is kind of how I view it.
Yep.
It's been something that we can both tackle together, and it's been really fun. She edits and uploads. She's the one. She always comes up with the catchy titles and stuff like that. I'm terrible at stuff like that. I couldn't. My titles, they're horrible, and so she's she's pretty good at all that. So it's kind of cool. Like I have an editor. We have talked about maybe finding an editor just to kind of lighten the load. But we keep coming back to we don't know if we could give up the control, like, because then all of a sudden you have to shoot different, you have to talk different. It's a totally different thing if you're preparing to hand that footage off to someone you don't really know.
Yeah.
So
I know. I imagine that would be a long process of transitioning that. But once you did it, like I imagine it'd probably be pretty nice, I would think. Like once you let go, even how hard it would be
Yeah.
at first, I think eventually you'd probably be like, yeah, this is great. So what would you say? What would you say if, there's so many homestead YouTubers, right? Nowadays, like there's so many homesteading YouTube channels. Would you say like if somebody wants to just start that it's like too saturated, like, or would you say like no, you could still find your way?
I would say it's not, but I think probably, when we started, and I'd say when you guys started, there was it was kind of like the opposite. We were making a way, and that you kind of had to like find the audience. Where now there's lots of people who are looking to watch that stuff, and everybody has a unique story and a unique perspective, and that's gonna resonate with different people. So I think no matter what, no matter when you start, you got to have an obstacle that you're struggling against. So I think that's, yeah, you just got to start and do it.
We've actually talked about
Go ahead,
this with quite a few different people who do YouTube. Something we've kind of discussed is there's 3 things that make up a good YouTuber, and you only need 2 of them. This is kind of tongue-in-cheek, so bear with me. You either need good talent, charm, or good looks. Pick 2 of them. If you are charming and very talented, you don't have to have good looks. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that fit that bill. There's a lot that, they have no talent, but they're charming and good looking. I mean, just pick 2. That's something that I've noticed with a lot of YouTubes that are successful. It's like, they have 2, or some of them even have 3 of those categories. So, like I said, kind of tongue in cheek.
There's a lot of negativity out there, and some people really cater towards that. And I think it's unfortunate, but that's what people gravitate towards. As far as negative titles and thumbnails, or stuff like that. So there's people that are really good at that though, and they gain a huge following, and so I guess if you really are into that, well, you could probably have a good following. So I guess we could say, if you're going to start a YouTube channel, being consistent, trying to tell a good story is important. What else do you think? I mean, equipment, it doesn't really matter, equipment. But I do think like sound, like if you could get a decent mic, even if it's on an iPhone, I think that's important. The sound quality, or even the lighting, like if it's whatever it is that you're doing, if you're completely dark in a dark room, like, yeah, you don't want that, but good sound, good lighting, good story, consistency.
And I would say don't go into it thinking that it's going to be easy and not take a lot of work, because it takes a lot of
That's a
work.
good point.
It takes a lot of time, and you
Yeah.
gotta be willing to put the time in. It's not just gonna. For some people, it happens overnight, but for a lot of people, it doesn't. It doesn't happen overnight. It took us years and years to be able to do it full time. But I think sometimes a lot of people go into it like, oh, I'm gonna do YouTube. YouTube's one of those things like you just work an hour a day and it's gonna be easy. I don't think it's that way. Or
No.
it hasn't been that way for us, at least.
No,
No.
it hasn't been like that for us.
No.
And like me, Gina, and Olivia, we all do. We can all get the whole family involved, and whether it's if it's what we're doing for a project, or like we pull Olivia in and we'll ask her, like just if it's doing like a title and a thumbnail, like we get her feedback. Just I think it's kind of nice to be able to pull your family into it and kind of make it a family thing. And I think also the world is going digital, so it's nice to be able to bring her in and kind of share this side of the stuff, because at some point when she's doing something on her own, whether it's working for somebody or not, I think social media is always going to have a huge impact from here on out. So if we can get our kids involved in that a little bit or share it with them, then it should help them in life, I think.
Yeah, I had one of our videos last week. It was a video. I was moving my 1,000-gallon water tank up our hill, and I was like, man, I got to move this tank up here, but I want to film it. So I was like, our daughter, I was like, I'll pay you to film me do this. And she goes, I'll do it. She goes, I'll do it. And so I ended up paying her, like, she films sometimes anyways. Like, she already knows, like, because she's around me doing it. So she knows what she's doing, you know. But she's like, I was like, I'll pay you, like, and she's like, okay, I'll do it. So like, she was into it, so it was kind of neat uh, to do that. So who knows? She might be my filmmaker one day. But I do want to say that we talk about like all the negative comments that we get, and unfortunately those stick with us because it's just that's just we're human, they stick with, unfortunately we gravitate towards that, and that's the comments we remember. But 99.9% the rest of the comments, would you say, are all positive? They're all good? Like,
Positive. They're good comments.
I
Yeah.
would say that on our end. I mean,
Yep.
there's some, I mean, I think it really opens your eyes on like, man, there's some really good people out there. Like, even the people that, the events that you go to, you meet people that say, hey, they watch your channel, and you meet them in real life. Like, those, some good people, man. Like, even just random comments, like emails that I would get, and people just, or letters, like people send letters and like just saying how much, we inspire them or whatever. Like, it's a really good comment. Like, so, I don't want people to think like it's full of negative people, and we're having to deal with that, but it's a small portion. Um, but I would say majority of it is positive.
We've
And
met
anybody
some
we've
really
ever
cool
met
people.
in person, that's usually, it seems like that's the ones you meet, which is nice. It's the nice people, the ones like, yeah, I like them. It's not you. Usually, I think the negative comments are just the armchair quarterbacks. They're just kind of
Yeah.
negative anyways, so you kind of got to brush them off. And so in real life, they wouldn't say anything to you anyways.
No.
For the ones the real people there, I guess I would call it, they're good, down to earth people.
Yeah,
But
and I
yeah,
think
unfortunately, the negative ones stick with us.
I think a good why for somebody if they want to start a homestead YouTube channel is to maybe they're starting it to find a community. I think that's a good way of doing it. If you're like don't have homesteading people around you that you know of, start a YouTube channel, and then next thing you know, you'll all of a sudden people will come out of the woodworks, you know, and then they might have a YouTube channel too or not, but maybe they might find you through YouTube, and you could probably connect with a lot of like-minded folks that way. Yeah, I think we covered a lot here. So I appreciate everyone watching on our YouTube channel and listening to it on podcast. Um, we've had, I know, including all the podcast apps, we've had over, I would say, almost 10,000 downloads of our podcast. I just saw it today. So I appreciate everyone listening and watching, and I hope everyone has an awesome week, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you guys.